Yo, what is GWARNIN, bitches? So, let's talk about PUBG on the original Xbox One. I have quite a bit to say, but I want to keep this as clear and concise as possible. Let me see if I can give it to you in a couple of metaphors. If I could think of anything in the world that could possibly come close to a virtual version of dying by no more or less than 1,000 flesh-eating fucking tumours, it would be the catastrophically broken PUBG. However, if I could think of anything in the world that could possibly come close to a virtual version of heaven with no more or less than 72 virgins, it would be the epic, addictive, stressful, edge-of-your-seat team play of PUBG. Have we discovered a gaming paradox, you might ask? Yeah, it's quite possible. Usually, such a broken-ass game wouldn't get a second glance from me, but I'll tell you this now for a fact. I have not played a game solely for the sheer pleasure of enjoyment for quite a long time now. And games these days just feel like a grind, geared at getting you to spend money on DLCs, loot crates or microtransactions. And do you know what, it's refreshing not having to feel that way. I've put over 25 hours into PUBG in 4 days, and I can quite easily say I am totally in love with this broken disaster, warts and all. And we need to talk about the warts first, because there are fucking loads of them. In fact, it's one giant wart really, a giant wart that's sort of covering an 18-year-old virgin, if that makes sense. The game is listed as pre-release, but I don't buy that as an excuse for the performance issues and bugs in the slightest. The big companies like Microsoft are hiding behind that tag to save face, but they've had enough time since PC release to really crunch the game and iron out something phenomenal. It's not like they don't have the money. For something that costs next to nothing to develop, PUBG Corp has made a killing off of it, and just made another 30 mil from the Xbox One release's first 48 hours. You know, that ain't too shabby. But for starters, the game is barely playable on Xbox One, due to a dismal FPS rate of around 25 at best and minus 7,000 at worst. Give or take 1,000, the game actually goes backwards. While outside, the frame rate is spiking from 10 to 20 when not in combat. There is a bit of a fix for that though, so check out my other video on that subject. Anytime you engage in a firefight outside with multiple enemies, the frame rate drop off is intolerable. The game simply stops responding to basic controller commands, and the physical lag and delay makes any gunfight a complete fucking roll of the dice. To put it simply, you cannot aim with any surety, as what your brain is telling you to do with your controller, it doesn't translate into the game. More often than not, if I'm exchanging gunfire with someone relatively close to me, we'll both empty our entire clips without a single shot on target, and then I'll proceed to walk into a wall as I'm trying to aim because the game's still 10 minutes in the past. I'll then probably lag inside of said wall and jip out, and the player I was fighting, because they've used all 300 rounds of ammo they had, pebble dashing the wall behind me, will proceed to cave my skull in with a frying pan. This will only take 47 seconds though, as the hitboxes are so out of whack, you have to be looking at Saturn and performing a fucking small bunny hop to hit anyone with a melee weapon. Combat is literally now RNG, and don't even try moving and sniping at the same time. Fuck me, I get better FPS running Crysis 3 on the Sega fucking Mega Drive. It's simply not doable. So now the bad stuff. Yeah, it gets a lot worse. Some server-side performance issues are to be expected in a pre-release title, of course, but the constant lag that takes multiple fucking forms is something I've never experienced before. You parachute onto an island in approximately 30 seconds, while it takes buildings, textures and everything else a good minute or two to render. So you'll be running for the first weapons through things that look like retarded polygons that a 2-year-old autistic child dreamt up, only to have a table spawn inside you without your consent, and then to be jipped back outside the building through a wall where an enemy's waiting for you, somehow already equipped like the fucking Terminator in level 3 everything, and then he proceeds to gun you down. Game over. So you try again, and this time you navigate the jippy lag, the retarded polygons, and you find a 9mm floating 13.7 feet off the floor, you know, as they do. You can't pick it up though, as nothing is responding yet, but the pickup animation half cycles, making it look like you're having a really awkward wank as you frantically press X. In a game where initial speed is key to survival, I'm sure these problems are game breaking for some players, which is a real shame. The jippy lag, otherwise known as rubber banding, continues throughout the duration of play, usually when you come into a new area, as the map loads and renders, or particularly as it is with me, whenever I move outside to throw a grenade surprisingly. You know, I've got an enemy stronghold all lined up perfectly, I release a grenade, or at least I think that I have, only to be jipped back inside from where I popped out and proceed to bounce a grenade off my teammate's fucking face, at which point I try my hardest to snap my controller in half as I howl in rage at the moon, shouting the C word over and over again until the missus has to come and physically check on me to see that I haven't legit murdered some c*** up here. This lag bullshit only ever happens when I'm fully kitted out in the prime gear, you know? I've got all the attachments, all the ammo I want, I'm wanting for nothing, I'm locked and fucking loaded. Total fucking badass bowling around, I'm ready for anything. Except playing in fucking Doctor Who TARDIS land. I would hazard a guess that probably 60% of my fucking deaths are due in some part to lag, whether it's FPS, rubber banding or map loading issues. The other 40% are because I genuinely suck. And no, I didn't forget the creme de la fucking creme of gayness. Dashboarding. And we're not talking your normal once every week, quiet little game quitting dashboarding. We're talking about loud ass, headphone shattering, twice hourly dashboarding. The game will freeze and then as my Xbox says, "No thank you sir, I don't like this game, it make me feel funny inside." My Xbox sounds like the fucking Saturn V rocket during takeoff while playing this, and on closer inspection it easily exceeds the temperature of the surface of the sun, and at first I thought it was overheating that was causing the dashboarding. But no. I did some research, because I'm legit a scientist and stuff, and discovered that it was in fact special PUBG pixies written into the game code that would pick the most awkward, the most inexcusable, and the most annoying times to dashboard users. When I'm hidden in a building off the beaten track, you know, these pixies ignore me totally. But if I'm, say, parachuting into a map, I'll get 50 feet from a building, clock a couple of enemies waiting to skull fuck me, dashboard. If I'm engaged in a firefight, I'll line up the perfect shot, dashboard. If I'm running for the white circle and enemies are closing in, you know, I'm dodging bullets left and right, using the jip lag to my advantage, dashboard. If me and my teammate are holding out in the last building as the circle shrinks, and just as an enemy comes through the front door to meet my 12 gauge, dashboard. If I'm driving and in particular there's a cliff or a river in front of me, dashboard. I've legitimately tried on 3.5 separate occasions to pull my own fucking teeth through the top of my head to ease the pain due to the frustration this has wrought on my psyche. Now you might say, with all these woes, why keep playing it, you know, go back to Call of Duty? Because the simple fact is, I cannot put it down. Because Call of Duty is but a distant memory now that I cringe at the thought of. Because I've never played a game that is more stressful, yet at the same time so exhilarating I get chills down my spine. The whole experience of starting from nothing on a level playing field with all the other players and being able to improve your chances of survival simply through hard work and the use of tactics combined with a bit of luck, it has to be said, is for me a winning formula. PUBG's victory is in its simplicity. Doesn't waste time with 4,000 different menus and options. It doesn't waste time with lobbies and class creation. It doesn't waste time with microtransactions and other content that distracts from the game. It throws you fucking headfirst into hectic action, hectic edgy of seat gameplay, and doesn't apologise for it for a second. And the graphics aren't all that really. And to be honest, who really gives a fuck? You know, when you're situated in what seems to be an abandoned town, with 3 teammates fortifying your position into an ambush corridor, and then you suddenly hear 2 windows smash. But your teammates aren't in that direction. Terror grips you. You can hear the shuffling of what you know to be enemies. You freeze, knowing that they can hear you if you move even an inch on the wooden floor. For some reason you start whispering into your headset in real life as you call your teammates for help. You know that if you die, that's it. There's no respawn, there's no second chance. You have to start again from scratch. As your teammates get into position, your palms start sweating and you can hear the enemies getting closer and closer. And then, as you hear the glorious sound of your teammates lighting up the bitches through the windows on multiple sides, you let out a huge sigh of relief and realise you're grinning from ear to ear. Now that's fun. The map's big enough to mean every single game is different. 25 hours in and there are still some weapons I'm yet to pick up. Having to find what you go into battle with, especially the weapon attachment system, is pretty special. The loot drops are RNG based, meaning the tactics you employ in one game won't work in another. The objective circles are also RNG based, meaning the final battle areas are always different, making every game unique and just as exciting as the last. I'm actually praising RNGezzers, wow! There is no aim assist or any other silly mollycoddling features that some developers include to appease the baby gamers these days. It's just you, a controller, and one heck of a challenge. Yes, there are many technical issues with this game at the moment, but here's how I see it. We are currently playing the very worst version of this game possible on Xbox One. It can only get better from here, and in my opinion here is a very good place gameplay wise. The likes of Call of Duty are technical marvels, but the gameplay is a little bit dry in my opinion. Here the opposite is true, and that's a really good thing. Can you imagine more maps, more vehicles, more cosmetics, and more guns and attachments with none of the technical issues? I can. And that's why I'll be sticking with PUBG. I said the same about Destiny 1 however, so watch this space. PUBG, do not let me down. I have faith in you. That's all from me, bitches. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe down below, and do me a favour and share this on your social media so other people can see it. Thanks a lot. Peace out.